Now, this festive season, there's growing concern about the safety of those that keep us safe. Paramedics and emergency services are increasingly becoming victims of violent crime. A Durban crew escaped serious injury when their ambulance was shot at and damaged earlier this week. It's reported they'd been responding to a car accident on Berea Road in Durban. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah has all the details and joins us now. Dasen, this is such a worrying story because, just as we heard from Imtiaz Suleiman saying how under pressure our emergency services are anyway, with the deluge of rain we've seen in many areas, they're also having to fend off criminals. Tell us about this incident.
That's right, Sal. It's actually a very worrying situation because you've got two things happening here. You've got the ongoing issue of safety regarding emergency services workers, because at the time that they're responding, they're focused on whatever it is that they are going to, and sometimes the immediate environment is not as much of a concern as is treating that particular patient. But the other thing that's happening is that we're seeing now that there are more fender benders, there are more accidents, there are more robberies. There's a lot more activity on the roads because of the December period and more people being in cities, more people being on holiday. So all of these factors have a role to play. In this particular incident, the crew was from ALS paramedics, and they were stationed in the Berea area, and as you rightfully said, they were responding to a report of a car accident. And just as they got there and they tried to make sense of what was going on, again, the focus being on the patient there, they quickly realized that they were in the midst of what may have been a robbery, and that's when the suspects that were escaping opened fire. We did have an opportunity to speak to the crew that was in that ambulance at the time. They, on the day, were quite shaken. They were also worried about their safety, but they did share with us today exactly what happened and what they went through. I spoke to a paramedic by the name of Tando Mbata. Let's listen to what she had to say to me earlier.
We got a call and then we were responding to Berea Road for an accident. When we got there, we had fire shots. And then we got shocked because we realized that the ambulance was being shot at as well. And then we jumped out of the ambulance to check for our patient, and then he was okay, but also his car had bullet holes. And then we called for backup from our advanced life supports. In my mind, I didn't know what was going on, and my question was like, why are we getting fired at? And then in my mind I was like, oh, maybe we're getting hijacked or something, but then I didn't think deep into it because I was in shock.
I mean, this is awful. We have heard over the years about criminal attacks on ambulances. I want to know from you, are you getting a sense from the people you're speaking to of whether these criminal attacks are on the increase?
It's difficult to say at this point if it's on the increase, but I can certainly tell you that it is extremely prevalent. I did try to get those statistics from the KZN Department of Health in relation to their paramedics and how many attacks they've had. I'm still waiting for those numbers. But there have been a number of incidents already, Sal. It's been hijackings, we're talking about robberies, shootings. If you look at KwaZulu-Natal, earlier this year in KwaMashu, there were two paramedics that were shot there. That seemed to be a robbery. I believe a cell phone was taken there. Both of those paramedics ended up in ICU. Last year, there was a shooting in Escort. Again, two paramedics that were shot there. One of them passed away. And that's not even talking about the rest of the country. If you look at the vehicles, for example, that they're driving, these are also high-risk vehicles. You know that in many cases they are wanted vehicles. So those vehicles cost upwards of 600,000, if not close to R1 million to kit out in the vehicles themselves. So there are all of these factors that you're looking at. And again, it comes down to what I was saying earlier, that these are factors that are sometimes secondary because the paramedics themselves are the emergency services workers are focused on the tasks they have. So it's going to be an extremely busy period now, and we can only hope that law enforcement does get the situation under control. We hope that that more of these emergency services workers who, as you said in your intro, are working to keep us safe, are actually safe themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do know there's going to be more visible policing in the Durban area. And let's hope that that means that our emergency services are also going to be a lot safer. Thank you so much for speaking to us, eNCA Dasen Thathiah.